So, how do you access Care4IT? Well, those of you who've had a Life Care phone would usually have Care4IT, the Care4IT app already installed on your phone. Some of you using your own phones would also have Care4IT on your phone, and you might have it. You might have access to it already. But those of you who don't, what you would usually have to do is uh, go to the App Store if you're using the iPhone, or go to the or Google Play if you're using Android. I'm on an Android phone now, so I will go to the Google Play Store. So usually what you will do is to search for an app called Care4IT Carer. There's two different apps actually. One of them is just called Care4IT, and the other one is called Care4IT Carer. The one you want is the one that's called Care4IT Carer. So I'll do a search. You can see here I've got there's the Monster, Read, and then there's the Care4IT Carer app. So I've already got it installed. If if you didn't have it installed already, you can install it from here. Now, those of you who used to use this app previously or haven't used it for a while, you will need to go to either the App Store or the Google Play Store in order to update the app, because they've made a few changes to it over time. If you haven't updated it, it might not work on your phone, so you will need to go and update it. Now mine is updated, so I can simply just open it. Now, when you open it, you see this screen. Now the email address that you would need to log into Care4IT is the email address that you receive your rotas on. So whatever email address that you receive your rotas on is the email address that you put into the space called email address. Now your password, if you don't know your password, what you can do is to click on the forgotten password link at the bottom. So we have I can click on that now, and it will take you to a screen like this in order to reset your password. Firstly, you will enter your email, which again is the email that you receive your rotas on. And you click on reset password, it will send you another email, or you go through the process and you reset your password. Now, when you get back to this screen, you enter your email address and your password. I already have an email address and a password, which I can enter there. And I will click sign in. This is the first screen that you will see. You will see all your shifts for today. To go in and see the more shift information, what I'm going to need to do is click on the icon of the head. Now click on the icon and it opens up the information about this particular shift. We come to the most important part of this demonstration and this is with regards to the medication. So firstly, we click on the medication. This is called an electronic MAR chart. Now, why we're moving to an electronic MAR chart is because this is the safest way of managing medication. What it means is that we receive information about your administration of medication in real time. It means that we are able to understand the service user's compliance in real time, and we're able to act quickly if there's a problem. What this MAR chart does is that it follows the NICE guidelines with regards to medication. What you can see is that each medication that the service user is receiving is listed here. The dosage that the service user is receiving should be listed here. The time that the medication should be taken is listed here. This is using the electronic MAR chart is the safest way, and it builds in the NICE guidelines, which means that it is the best practice with regards to administering medication. Now, we do know that what we have to remember also is that we are supposed to be providing the kind of service that we would expect for our own loved ones. All the carers that we work with that I've seen, you're all very caring. You're all very you work very hard for your service users. What you we must understand with regards to how we want to administer medication is that this allows you to ensure that you're providing a highest quality of service to your service user. If you had another carer providing service for a loved one, you would expect them to use best practice and provide medication in a way that is as safe as it possibly can be. As we want to provide the kind of service that we expect for our own loved ones, I'm sure you would understand why it is a good idea to use the electronic MAR chart. So, at this point, we'll go through the demonstration of the MAR chart. Now, one thing that we have to say is that the key thing about this electronic MAR chart is that it allows us to monitor medication administration in real time. If, for any reason, you cannot access this application, if for any reason you cannot complete the electronic MAR chart, what you must do is contact the office and we'll go through with you the medication that you are administering so that we can make a record of the medication that you are receiving, that you are administering, I beg your pardon. So the important thing is that it's in real time. So if you can't, the quickest way is to access this app and put it through the app. But if you cannot, for any reason, access this app to complete the electronic MAR chart, or if anything is wrong with the information electronic MAR chart, you must contact the office, and the person that you speak with will be able to take a record that you are of the medication that you are administering in real time. Now, looking at our role with regards to medication, we would only have an electronic MAR chart. You would only have an electronic MAR chart would only show up against your service user where we are administering medication. What you should remember is that according to our policy, there are 3 levels of medication. Level 1 is where the service user is independent of medication. They can take their own medication. You might have to remind them every now and then, or just check that they've taken it, but you know that they will take their medication and they can deal with it themselves. That's a level 1 medication. Okay, just remember, level 1 medication, you may have to remind them every now and then, but they are independent of medication. Now, if you see that someone is on level 1 medication, and you should be able to see that from their care plan, which is in a blue folder, and online, if you have a level 1 medication service user, but you have to remind them every day to take their medication because maybe they forget, they're getting forgetful, or they're non-compliant, then technically speaking, that service user should be a level 2 service user. I'll come on to level 2 in a second. And you must let the office know. If you have any concerns about a client who's supposedly independent of medication, you must contact the office and we will reassess them. The next level of medication is level 2, where we are responsible for administering medication. And level 3, where we are also responsible for administration, but through special techniques. So, for example, if we have to administer medication through a peg feed, that would be level 3 medication. However, LifeCare doesn't have anyone or using level 3 medication. So any medication you come across, all the medication you come across will be level 2 medication. Now, when we are administering medication, when we're responsible for administering medication, level 2 or 3, we have to remember there's also there's different types of medication. We have to remember that anything, technically speaking, anything prescribed is a medication. This includes topical medication like creams, things like eye drops, ear drops. As long as it's prescribed, it needs to be on the electronic MAR chart. We need to have it on the system. Some people are even prescribed E45 cream. If it's been prescribed, we have to have it on the electronic MAR chart, and we have to record that we are administering it. There are also some medication which is medication that the service user takes as needed. So those are called PRN medication. Now I understand, I believe PRN is a Latin word which means as the thing is needed. So this is medication that is as needed. We are still responsible for administering that medication, and we must record the administration of that medication accurately. So let's go through the medication that we are administering. When we are administering the medication, we must remember a few things. Firstly, we have to remember the 6 R's of medication. The 6 R's of medication is extremely important, and you must all know it. You've received training on it. The 6 R's of medication are right patient, right drug, right dose, right route, right time, and right to refuse. Now, obviously, right patient, when you're administering medication, you must make sure that you're giving it to the right person. The right medication, you must make sure that the medication you're given is the correct one. Now, that means that you need to check the medication on this electronic MAR chart against the medication that is on, let's say, the blister pack or any medication that has been prescribed. The right dose. Once again, you must check the information that we have on this electronic MAR chart to ensure that the dosage meets up with what you see on, let's say, the blister pack or whatever has been prescribed. Right route. What this means is that, let's say, for example, if the service user has been prescribed a tablet, you're not going to rub a tablet on their skin. That tablet, the route for that tablet is oral. Likewise, if the service user has been provided a cream, you're not going to give it to the service user to swallow orally. You're going to put it on their skin. So the route for that is topical on the skin. Now, obviously, the right time, what should happen is that each medication should be clear when the medication should be taken. Would it be at the breakfast? Would it be at dinner time? Right time. And just as importantly as all the rest, the service user has a right to refuse medication. Now, our role is to support the service user to take their medication, so we can work with a service user, we can remind them of the benefits of their medication, we can try and convince them to take their medication, but what we can't do is force the service user to take their medication. So you have to understand the service user has the right to refuse. Now, when we're providing our medication, when we're administering our medication, what we have to remember is that we have to administer medication safely in accordance with the service user's preferences. So if they like you to provide them the medication in a saucer, in a little cup, on a spoon, you provide it according to their preference, as long as it's safe. So for example, we don't crush medication unless we've been told to by the pharmacist. So we have to provide it safely, but in accordance with the service user's preferences. Now, the information that you see on the MAR chart should be clear. It should allow you to administer medication correctly. So it should be in line with the 6 R's. Now, let's look at what we have here. Now, the shift that I'm in is 1930 to 2030. This is the bedtime shift. So I'm looking at the medication. I'm looking at the, let's say it's in a blister pack. Just imagine that it's in a blister pack, which most of the medication that you would be administering is. I'll be able to look through the blister pack and understand that there's if I look at the MAR chart now, the first one is co-carol-dopa to be taken 1 time a day at breakfast. I'm not going to take that, not at bedtime. We should be able to look at the next one, furosemide, 1 tablet to be taken once a day at breakfast time. Digoxin, 1 tablet to be taken 4 times a day. It should be taken at breakfast, lunch, tea time, and dinner. So I will be providing digoxin. Thiamine, now 1 tablet to be taken 1 time per day at breakfast. Omeprazole, 20 milligrams, 1 tablet to be taken 1 time a day at breakfast. So we won't be giving that one. Now, vitamin B, compound strong tablets. This is an example of what we call the PRN medication, to be taken as needed. You can see under information here, it says 1 to be taken 2 times per day at breakfast and bedtime, if required. So I will be expecting one of those vitamin B tablets in my blister pack, but they'll be taken if required. So, and then we have thiamine 100 milligram tablets, 2 to be taken to be taken every day, 2 to be taken twice daily. So I'll be giving 2 thiamine tablets. So we have 1 digoxin, 1 digoxin, 1 vitamin B, and 2 thiamine tablets. So in my blister pack, I would expect to see 4 tablets for that bedtime, nighttime shift. Now, let's go and start administering medication. Let's open digoxin first of all. So we know that there's information here. Digoxin 62.5 micrograms. I've checked it against the blister pack or the prescribed information, and I can see it's correct. So I select my option. I am going to give it at the evening, nighttime. It's 1 tablet I'm supposed to give. And let's say this was administered. Submit. Okay. So then the next one is the vitamin B strong compounds. Let's say on this occasion, it says this is the PRN medication. It says 1 to be taken twice a day. 1 to be taken twice a day at breakfast and bedtime if required. Imagine I've given my vitamin B tablets. Now I'm going to select my option. It's evening, nighttime. There's 1 tablet, as it says at the top there. 1 tablet to be taken 2 times per day at breakfast and bed. Done. However, my service user tells me I don't need the vitamin B tablets today. So on this occasion, it is not required. So I choose not required, and then I submit that. Then I move on to the thiamine tablets. Select my option, evening, night time. Now, let's say on this occasion, it was supposed to be 2 tablets I'm taking. 2. Done. That's your option. Let's say on this occasion, my service user tells me I don't want to take that tablet. So it's refused. We must select refused. And we submit. That medication has been administered. So that's come through to our system. Now, what should happen in that situation? I should follow it up with some information, either over the phone or through the notes, but preferably over the phone. Now, let's look at further again at the options that we have here. Technically speaking, we are there to administer medication. If for any reason we cannot administer a medication, that medication should be refused. We should select the option refused unless it's a PRN medication, which is taken as needed and the service user doesn't need it. The service says they don't need it, not required. So then we can select not required. Or we select administered. Okay, so there's 3 options that we have here. There's administered, refused, not required. On the rare occasion that you've given your service user the medication and it's come out because they've been sick, you can choose nausea stroke vomiting. Those are really the only 4 options you should be able to use. Anything, but technically speaking, anything other than the medication being administered means that you should contact the office to talk about it. Okay, because we might need to take some onward action to make sure that the service user stays safe. Because if they haven't taken the medication that they're supposed to take, it could have serious effects. And as you know, all of our roles is to support the service user to stay safe in their own homes, to stay independent in their own homes. Okay. Now, what do you do if the information that we have here is not the same as the information that we have that you can see on the blister pack or on the prescribed medication? Again, what you must do is give us a call. Call us immediately. What can happen is that we can update the information, which allows you, which comes through immediately on your phone and allows you to record that you've given the correct medication as prescribed. Anything that you're concerned about, as always, contact the office. Pick up the phone, give us a call. Okay, now the final thing that you will need to do is on your communication sheet, you must enter on your communication sheet what you've done for the day, which includes obviously administering medication. Now on your communication sheet, what you can put down is that your administration of medication has been recorded via the electronic MAR chart, which means anyone who wants to see that record can give us a call, and if they do have permission to see the service users records, we will provide them with that information. Okay, so that's the administration of medication. Now when you've finished, what you're going to do is go and check out. You want to check out this visit? I'll say okay, and what should happen is that a form comes out that allows you to just take maybe some of the general activities that's associated with that shift type. So this is personal care. So it allows me to tick whether or not I've provided personal care. So for the night time, I didn't give a bath. Toileting, maybe I support the service user to go to the toilet. I help them prepare a meal, help them to change pads. Fed medication, completed my medication sheet, and completed my medication chart. That's a bit that comes through to us. And that's it. That's the end of the shift. So the thing to remember with this training is that one of the important things, the most important thing that we do is that we're supposed to support our service users to stay independent in their own homes. Now, again, what we try and do is to give the kind of service that we would expect for our own loved ones. What we're setting up here, the example that we've given with the electronic MAR chart, allows us to provide safe medication safely. It allows us to utilize a best practice when providing medication. Now, what we have to think is that if someone was coming to take care of our loved one, we would expect them to try and provide the best standard of care, and we would expect them to use best practice with regards to supporting the service user. Now, utilizing our app and this electronic MAR charts allows you to provide that quality of service to the service user that you have always been doing. So this is why we are utilizing this, and we need to start utilizing this with immediate effect. Now, if you have any questions about any of this, please contact the office. Please contact the office. If you have any queries at all, please contact the office. And remember, when you're providing medication, when you're administering medication, if for any reason you can't access this app, you have to contact us at the office so that we can record the medication that you have administered. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.